First of all, I would like to greet all our SHIA family a very happy 20th Foundation Day anniversary. It's my pleasure to be able to share with you the message in this celebration. The title I would like to share with you in this very special occasion is the power behind SHIA's DNA. Probably you have heard about DNA before. DNA is what we call the deoxyribonucleic acid. And this contains the genetic instruction used in the development and functioning of all known organisms. However, when we say DNA, this is actually often referred to as the blueprint of life. In short, DNA is what we are. DNA defines our roots, our foundation, and our goals and aspirations. So let us understand, when we talk about brands, do you know what are the 4 most recognizable brand logos in the world? Can you guess? Maybe you know this one. Apple, Nike, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. These are the 4 most recognizable brand logos in the world. Now, how about this one? Do you recognize this logo? Sure, this is our Sonwa International Academy logo. So when we talk about brands, brand names, you know, these are more than just names. It is more of a promise. In short, when we say brand, we talk about the commitment. So let us go back to what makes these brand names, something that we can always remember. Every brand has its what we call own DNA, a name, identifiable marks, identity, services, programs, and products. So when we say DNA, it is everything and everyone associated with our organization. So for example, when you say toothpaste, what comes out? What do you think about toothpaste? Usually everybody thinks about Colgate, right? Or when you say, instead of saying copying machine, you say Xerox. But that is a brand. So I would like to share with you in this special time, since we are now 20 years old, let's rediscover and look back in our SHIA's DNA. Are you ready? SHIA's DNA. So in this celebration of the 20 years Foundation Day, let us be empowered once again. All our SHIA family, all our officers, officials in Sonwa, all the teachers and staff, all our students and pupils, our parents, and all our stakeholders. Let us be empowered once again with the vision of Sonwa. This is a very, very beautiful vision, a homeschool where children of various cultures and nationalities flourish to their full potentials for the greater glory of God. Very beautiful vision. Now let us also reaffirm our mission as Sonwa to provide a well-organized, family-based, educational environment guiding the children's imagination, senses, and intellect for a meaningful learning experience, development, and growth. It's so nice to reaffirm this very wonderful mission of Sonwa. Now, let us also be strengthened by our objective. In this message, I would like to focus more on the objectives of our school, to guide children to be educated, to live for the greater good. To live for the greater good. Actually, this is so powerful and this is so important. Why? Because when we think about the brand of SHIA, this is the uniqueness in our SHIA DNA. Guiding our children to live for the sake of others, to live for the sake of the greater good. Isn't it also wonderful when we think of the motto of our school, love God, love humanity, love nation. And this were inspired by our founders, Dr. Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon. Throughout their lives, they have been guided by this motto. In fact, all the learning institutions established by Father and Mother Moon are guided by this motto. A Chon, love God. A In, love humanity. And A Guk, love our nation. Very powerful. And so let's also reimagine and let's go back to this very beautiful pledge that our children and our staff are reciting every day. This is what we call the Sonwa Family Pledge. And when we put our hands on our chests and recite together, this is so beautiful. Understanding that all people are my brothers and sisters, and we are one family under God, I pledge to go beyond having a self-centered life and be a person who lives for the sake of others, for my family, my academy, and my community, and beyond them, for the nation and the world. So, help me God. Very beautiful. I'm sure many of our students who are not in Sonwa anymore still remember how every morning they recite this very powerful and beautiful Sonwa pledge. So I highlighted here, be a person who lives for the sake of others, because this is what makes Sonwa unique. This is what makes our Sonwa family, our Sonwa students and pupils unique. Focusing more on how we raise up our young children to become people who live for the sake of others. Now, if I will ask you this time, why is it important to live for the sake of others? Do you know that when God started to create everything, everything is based on the principle of living for the sake of others? From the largest, from the smallest to the largest, everything is governed by the principle of living for the sake of others. For example, the atoms, they practice the principle of living for the sake of others. Solar system, they also practice the principle of living for the sake of others. In fact, when we think of creation, you know how beautiful the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom, how they are responding and relating to each other. So for example, the plant kingdom gives off oxygen, right? Which is needed by the animal kingdom. And in return, the animal kingdom gives off carbon dioxide. The animals give off carbon dioxide, which is also needed by the plants in order to survive. So they produce what we call the vital elements for survival. And this is very beautiful. God created us in this way. The plant kingdom, animal kingdom, relating to each other based on what we call the principle of cooperation. In fact, this is so amazing because the law of nature is based on the law of cooperation, right? So this, we can see that animals and plants are both living for the sake of each other. So based on this understanding, if the law of nature, if the law of creation is based on the principle of living for the sake of others, then what will happen to someone who does not practice living for the sake of others? What if I am a person who just want to live for myself? In short, I am a selfish person. So when we think of this, if this is the principle that God created everything, and if we go against that principle, what will happen to you? Okay, so let's say I'll give you one example. When you inhale, what do? You exhale, right? Inhale, exhale. Give and take. Now, for example, if you are a person who is selfish, you just want to take, you just want to get something, and you don't want to give. Okay, let us look what will happen to you. You take, you inhale, and you don't want to give, right? So you inhale again. You inhale again. This is what will happen to selfish people. You are bound to die if you are a selfish person. So this is the principle of cooperation. This is the principle of give and take action. This is the principle of living for the sake of others. Actually, in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40, and I would like to share with you. Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of this, my brothers, you did it to me. These are the words from our Lord Jesus Christ, highlighting the importance of living our life based on what we can do for the sake of others. Our Lord Jesus Christ encourages us to practice a life serving others, a life of serving others, a life that is live for the sake of others. And then what did Jesus say? Jesus Christ said, this, when you do it for others, this is also what you did to me. So when we talk about education, this is very powerful words from Thomas Lecona. He is an American educator. And what did he say? He said, down throughout history, education has had two great goals. What is it? He said, to help young people to what? To become smart, and do not forget, to help them to become good. To become smart and to become good. So when we think of this, why Sonwa is so much focusing and giving premium on character formation and character education? Since the founding of Sonwa 20 years ago, we have been guided by this principle. No matter what, we have to focus on raising children who live for the sake of others. So we put premium on character education. This is also Kevin Ryan when he said, character is not developed just by learning about words such as kindness and honesty. It involves our whole life, what we think, what we feel and do, and why. So from the time your kids, our young pupils and students, when they come to the portals of Sonwa, they start to rethink their values. They start to form the value of sacrifice. They start to value living for the sake of others, always thinking, what can I do for the sake of others? In fact, this is what we have been guided since we started 20 years ago. SHIA's focus on character education. So we believe in SHIA's philosophy on balanced education. Balanced education. So what is that balanced education? First dimension of education. You know what? This is the foundation. So as you can see here, in this pyramid or triangle, the foundation is most important. And this is what? Based on what? Cultivation of heart. Cultivation of heart. So that means we focus first on developing the maturity of individuals, the maturity of character. So when we focus on this, then the rest will just follow. So next, after the cultivation of heart, which is the foundation, then we go to the next level. We focus on education in norms. Education in norms is the next step when we prepare our young kids to have beautiful and loving relationships. Starting first as children, giving respect to their parents, to elders, to the authority. And then after that, they relate together as brothers and sisters. Like a sibling realm of relationship. So that based on the value of purity of heart. That's why in Sonwa, we always give pure love education. That comes after this, education in norms, is the third dimension of education. What is this? This is now preparing them to develop skills, education for mastery. Why? Because once our students go, for example, to senior high school, when they go to college, this is the time they are thinking, what can I contribute to the society? Whether they become teachers, they become doctors, lawyers, soldiers, engineers, whatever profession that they may choose in the future, it is not because they want to earn something. It is not just for them to have a lot of money. But in fact, education for mastery is preparing them to contribute something to the society. So these are the three dimensions of education. So that is why in Sonwa, we want to correct this problem of modern education. When you look at this is an inverted pyramid. It is unstable. It cannot stand. Any person who is educated in this way will become a problem in the society. Why? Because we focus more on education for mastery, and we don't focus and give value to the cultivation of the heart and character of this person. So what do? We are like raising students to become like this. Very small heart, big head, big problem. So when we focus on giving balanced education to our children, which we are doing in Sonwa, cultivation of the heart is the premium and the focus, then we can raise our children to become like this. Balance. Very good heart, beautiful heart. So this is what we want to accomplish. So SHIA's philosophy on balanced education is based on this, a very stable pyramid of education. Cultivate first their heart and character, educate them in norms, and then finally, let them develop mastery and skills. So in Sonwa, I would say, since we started 20 years ago, we are on the right track. So our parents, our guardians, when you brought your children to Sonwa, we're so grateful. And we have been motivated to continue in this way, to correct the problem in our modern education system. So the purpose of education, we can say, is to teach our children to be good, to teach our children to live for the sake of others. If we neglect teaching them to become good people, if we neglect teaching them to live for the sake of others, we are missing the main point of education. So, we have been, for the past 2 years, the education system has gone through a lot of challenges. Many institutions even closed down because of the pandemic. Because of the coronavirus, wow, we were challenged. So even in Sonwa, we were challenged. So when we think of the problem of coronavirus, actually more deadly than coronavirus is another virus which is prevalent and present long time ago. Do you know what this virus is? This is the selfishness virus. So you can see there in this caricature, selfishness kills the human more than the virus. Do you agree? So the selfishness virus is killing many people. So this is the problem. We call it LOL syndrome. Do you know what is LOL syndrome? The feeling of lack of love. Lack of love. That means always trying to compare yourself. Oh, these people are better. Oh, I am not blessed. I have so many problems. Feeling lack of love. Feeling lack of love is actually self-centeredness. Always looking at myself. What can I get? Do they have time for me? Am I recognized? So this is what we call LOL syndrome. The lack of love syndrome. So what do? We need a vaccine. We need an antidote. And do you know what is that antidote? This is LFSO. What is LFSO? Living for the sake of others. And this is where our children are growing up in Sonwa. And this is our founders, Father and Mother Moon, has been emphasizing throughout their life. They have been guided by this philosophy, living for the sake of others. Now, when you teach children or kids to live for the sake of others, they might ask you, why do I need to live for the sake of others? Why do I need to think about living for the sake of others? So this can become a question that you will face. So we have to tell them, why is it good to live for the sake of others? First and foremost, why we need to live for the sake of others? Because we cannot create happiness by ourselves. We cannot experience love by ourselves. Love and happiness comes from our object partners. So no choice. Love and happiness comes from others, our object partners. So therefore, we have to live for them. We have to live for the sake of others. What makes you happy? It is when you start thinking of others, serving others, living for the sake of others, and then happiness comes to you. This is what Father Moon said. I would like to share. This is actually so powerful. True love is seeking to give first. Father Moon said, a love that seeks to give and forget, to give, forget, give again, that seeks to give, forget, and when it can no longer give, grieves and sheds tears. True love, my brothers and sisters, is giving and giving and giving and completely forgetting what you have given. This is the heart of parents. When they continue to give and give and give to their children out of love, and they don't expect anything in return. So this is the beauty of true love, which always seek to give first. So let's define what is true love or principled love. As you can see here, principled love or true love is give first, and then you can receive later. That is the mindset of true love. Now, what is the opposite of true love? Unprincipled love or false love. What is it? Take first, and then give later. Or even forget to give. So this is the problem. This is the problem of selfishness. Now the question is, are you a giver or a taker? You know, there is a book written by Adam Grant. The title of this book is Give and Take. And you know, in that book, he started to say, do you know the secret to success? Of course, hard work, passion, luck, talent play a major role for one to become successful. But there is another factor which he calls reciprocity style. What is your style in giving? Are you a giver or a taker? In fact, in that book by Adam Grant, he classified these behaviors of, he calls it, behavioral tendencies. And he classified it into three. takers, matchers, and givers. To make the long story short, do you know who among the takers, matchers, and givers turn out to be successful in life? Any guess? So you're saying it's the givers. You are correct. The givers are the one who turn out to become more successful in life. But do you know which group are those who end up miserable and become, unsuccessful in their future life? Any guess? It is also the givers. So the givers, another group of givers are the ones who are successful in their future life, and another group of givers also are unsuccessful in their life. The matchers and the takers are in the middle. So what differentiates those who become successful and those who become less successful in life? They are both givers. The difference is that the givers who become successful are those who are giving without expecting anything in return. Makes sense, right? While the givers who expect something in return, they ended up being those who became unsuccessful in life. So let's reflect on this as we celebrate 20 years of Sonwa. Am I practicing a life of giving? Am I practicing a life of giving without expecting anything in return? So let us reflect on this. Have you heard about the ripple effect? So when I heard about ripple effect, I remember when I was young, I used to play also. When there is a pond, a small body of water, when you throw pebbles or stones, isn't it that it creates some kind of ripples? We call that the ripple effect. They, from a very small circle of ripple, then it expands and expands and expands and expands, and it can travel even hundreds of meters away. Just a small pebble, you drop it in a pond, it will continue to travel hundreds and even thousands of meters away. So why am I sharing about the ripple effect? One person, no matter how small, the deed that you have done can affect widespread change in the same way as a pebble is thrown in the ground. So I would like to invite you to watch this short video clip which we can learn about the importance of doing kindness to others.
Total $68.
I'm sorry. Can I return the cake, please?
Sure, yes.
I want the cake, please. I won't ask for anything else.
Next time, okay, when we can afford it.
Last time you said that. The cake is not tasty. Let's buy something else, okay?
They don't want that?
Yes.
I'll take it then.
Okay.
Hey. Hello, this is for you.
No, we cannot accept it.
Would you please?
There's no reason for you to buy the cake for us.
Well, when I was 7, my mother wanted to buy me a cake.
Mommy, I want this one.
But at the counter, we didn't have enough.
Can we get something else?
It's my birthday today. Can I choose my own cake, please?
I'm sorry.
Then, there's this man. I've never met him before.
Here, have the cake. Happy birthday.
I didn't know his name. I never got a chance to say thank you. But I've never forgotten him.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Can I have your contact number? Let me repay you when we have the money.
Promise me something, okay? Someday, when you're able to help somebody, you will do it?
Grandma! I chose this cake for your birthday.
Wow, this is my favorite. Thank you.
Let's go and put some candles.
Oh, careful. You shouldn't have spent the money.
Actually, I came and paid for it.
He give me this note.
Please write down your address. I'll bring the money back to you later.
A simple act of caring creates an endless ripple.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
So this is a very beautiful illustration of a story, how important doing kindness, no matter how small these kind acts that we do, it will definitely create ripples. So we can see here, this is the ripple effect. A small act of kindness can. So my dear friends, all our SHIA family, thank you. And again, when we think of our children's future, let us work hard in guiding them, raising them to become kids, to become children, to become people who live for the sake of others. A small act of kindness can create an endless ripple. So again, I would like to thank you for being with our SHIA family for the past 20 years. Happy 20th Foundation Anniversary, SHIANs. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.